I'm Troy Sage.
And I'm Andrew Smith. And topic here that's got a little controversy around it.
Yes.
Because it has to do with fees on short sales. And we're not talking fees in the contract. We're talking fees for people like ourselves that are negotiators. Whether an agent has a negotiator on staff or whether they use a third-party company such as S2, there are different ways that these fees are being charged. We have our own belief in what should and should not be charged and to whom, but there's a lot of different companies out there doing it a lot of different ways, and we just wanted to touch on some of that.
Yeah, like the first thing that really gets under my skin is when a listing agent will not tell the buyer's agent about any fees, and then while they're in escrow say, by the way, your buyer or you, the agent, you're actually going to pay a fee for the negotiator. Now, in my humble opinion, I pay for things that are representing me.
Right.
And I get to choose what I'm paying for and choose the service. Well, that's just, in my opinion, absolutely wrong.
Well, isn't that how a contract is in general? If the seller's paying for it, doesn't usually the seller get to decide who's providing the service that they're paying for?
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
but in this case, what you're saying is, hey, you know what? We're going to charge you this fee, and we're going to dictate who's doing it, how it's being done, what it's going to be, and all of it. We just want you to write the check.
Yeah, crazy. So if you're a buyer's agent, you're a buyer, and the listing agent comes back to you and says, oh, by the way, when we get this approved, you're paying a 1% of the purchase price for the negotiation fee. I'd really think twice about that. I'm not saying don't do it, but I would definitely think twice about it.
Now, remember, right here, we are actually talking about the negotiator fees, because there are certain instances, such as American Home Mortgage, for instance, on their short sales, the way they have it set up, they actually have a contractual relationship with a set nationwide short sale facilitator, and they actually dictate up front that there is going to be a buyer charge to cover some of those fees. That's not what we're talking about.
And that's usually only a few $100.
The last one I did was actually 1%, so I think they thought all these other agents are getting 1%, so we may as well jump on that bandwagon too.
And I still don't understand that. I don't understand that at all, because what's happening in that situation, it's a servicing company representing the bank that is actually running that short sale. Exactly. And then they're going to come back and charge the buyer a 1% fee when, let's break this down. On the HUD, on the final HUD, as we already have discussed in the past, that selling a short sale is simply a seller and a buyer coming together, agreeing on a price, and it's all contingent upon their lender's approval. So to me, and then the lender at that point in time says, yes, we're going to pay 6% commission. And, you know, if it's half of for sure. Yes, we're going to pay 6% commission. Yes, we're going to pay for the termite inspection, but we're not going to pay for repairs. Yes, we're going to pay for these disclosures, natural hazard disclosure, title fees, any type of fees that are involved in the sale, bringing the taxes current. The bank dictates yes or no whether or not that they're going to pay those fees, not the sellers. That the bank will then say yes. Okay, but then when they have a servicer that's working for the bank to then say somebody's paying this 1% fee on top of any other fees, that to me is ridiculous.
I agree with you completely. So, I mean, but let's back up and look for just a second at the different ways this is done. So we've established that in many cases the buyer is being charged, which we agree and we think is wrong. Number two, you had a situation where attorneys and other people were charging the homeowner, the seller, an upfront fee in order to process this for them, to try and get them out of the situation. A stop was put to that when Mars legislation went into effect.
That's right.
But that has now been repealed in this case, so those fees are allowed again. But since people already got a bad taste about them, now they're not doing that. Now we're starting to see things like, no, we don't charge an upfront fee, but we're going to charge you $399 to provide you all the documents that you need to fill out.
So
but if you want a pencil, that's like an extra $5 too.
I know. It's just smoke and mirrors. Listen, the bottom line is this. For the seller, technically, 99.999% of the time, there's absolutely no money out of your pocket. If you're paying fees up front for someone to establish a file, or to give you documentation, which is just them emailing documents that you're going to pay for the printing and the ink to print it anyways, you really sincerely need to reconsider who you're working with. Now, I'm going to do a self-promotion on our company, all right, which I haven't done in all the videos, but our company charges the seller zero, absolutely nothing. Matter of fact, our company charges the buyer zero, absolutely nothing. How do we get paid, you're probably wondering? We take a percentage of the commission
on the listing
side that the bank has approved. We're not hiding stuff in the HUD, which is still being done.
We're not adding fees. We're not approving a fee for closing costs over here and then shifting some of it over here. It's all laid out. It's all up front. It's all clean. Why do we do that?
It's the right thing to do.
Imagine that. Somebody doing the right thing.
Look, in selling real estate or cars or selling anything else when you work on commission, you have to, as a business owner, put your money where your mouth is. You provide a service, you're successful in providing that service, you then get paid. That's why so many agents have left the business. They were used to just making money by showing up and saying, hi, there's a sign in the front yard. Oh, here's 30 buyers. Those days are gone. So if you're a home seller, do not be misguided by these smoking mirrors of, oh, this documentation is going to cost you X amount of dollars for us to start this file. All these documents you can find online, or if you work with our company, we provide them for you so you don't have to surf the internet to find that. If you're an agent and you're working with a buyer and you get some jive-mo email back or some addendum that says your buyer has to pay this amount of money, really think twice about what's going on. If that buyer has not got to choose who the servicer is, who's contracting with that servicer and who's that servicer representing? Because I'll tell you now, if I'm a buyer and I got to pay 1% fee, I'm talking to that negotiator and telling them, here's what I want.
Exactly, and that's not happening. Bottom line on this, we believe we provide a service to the listing agent. They're the ones that are contracting with us in order so that they can go out and do what they do best. Go and generate more listings to help more homeowners get out of a troubled situation. We're actually providing the negotiating service for them. They're hiring us, therefore they're the ones that pay for it. Not the buyer, not the seller.
And if you use our services, I know we're plugging ourselves a lot here, but I think it's about time. We've been really soft selling this to everyone, and now hanging out with other negotiators and how they're ripping people off, it's irritating. We do not ever contact the seller unless it's our listing. So that listing agent has a fiduciary duty to that seller. They have all communication. Right. All our company does is we package and we negotiate with the bank, which I'm sure we'll talk about that in another video, how long it takes to really negotiate and what we do.
Yeah, we'll get into that in detail. In the meantime, any questions, comments, feedback, we'd love to hear from you. www.s2neg.com.
Make it a great day.